Hey folks, how's it going? Thanks for checking out the video. I'm Johnny. Today we're going to look at the brand new Power BI Paginated Report visual. So here is me thinking I was done with paginated reports for the time being, but in the last week Microsoft have launched the brand new Paginated Report visual in Power BI. There's been quite a lot of hype about this one. I know Chris Wagner is one of the Microsoft MVPs, has been really excited about it. Some of the Microsoft guys themselves as well. I know Alex Powers in particular seems to be pretty stoked about this arriving. Today's going to be a little bit different for me because ordinarily I'm pretty well prepared. I'll have a bit of a script written out, I'll know exactly which steps I'm intending to demo and what outcomes I'm looking to achieve. But today I'm just going to jump on. I have not touched this brand new visual at all. Just going to crack on in there and see where it takes us. So let's jump on in. So this is the report we started with at the very beginning of the Paginated Reports journey. Over several videos, over several weeks, we created a paginated report that kind of complemented this dashboard. We started with, on page 2, kind of this Power BI report, which doesn't really serve the purpose you want from a paginated report. So I figured I'd have a play about and see if I could maybe potentially replicate something like this, but using the new Paginated Report visual. So let's jump on page 3. Over here on the visuals pane, here is the new Paginated Reports icon. So let's click it and see what we get. Connect to report. So even though I've not played with this visual, what I have done is I've read the blog post that's been released by Chris Finlan. So I have got a bit of an idea how this is supposed to work. So it's not intended that you're going to actually write and build your paginated report in Power BI. It's more a case of having a paginated report that you've already built and linking it to the report. So let's crack on. I have my Contoso sales report, which is the one that we were working on in the Paginated Reports Gotcha series. And I've got this option here to set parameters. So this is giving me a list of which parameters exist in my report. And it is asking me to map them to my Power BI. So interesting. What do I need to do here? Drag it maybe? Could it be here? Ah, there we go. So you stick it in this parameters pane on the right hand side. Then is that going to set the defaults off? Here we go. Oh, so how do I use the same parameter twice? Because I've got a from and to dates. Oh, there we go. Oh no. So this feels like a drawback here. So I can only use a field once to map it to my parameters, which isn't going to work for me here. Let's think, how can I do it? Wonder if I can give it a DAX measure. So thinking minimum calendar date for a from date. Maybe max that. So if we get rid of this and this, from date and to date, is that going to work for me? Okay. So the other thing is that if I'm, even though I've got Europe as my default in my paginated report, I can't maintain the default parameter and allow people to change it, so I have to select all of them. So I don't think this will work for me because my report currently only accepts one value for the content name. I've got it set to single select. Let's see how we go though. Let's make this a bit bigger.
One eternity later.
Now thinking about it, this is pretty abysmally slow, but by default I haven't got any slices or filters on this page. So that's going to return my entire data set, which is going to be massive. So if I make a little bit of room here, go back to my page 2, and I had a continent name and calendar date slicer here. If I copy those and stick them here, I don't think I'm going to get on that page. So now I'm just getting Europe, and I'm just getting 1 day's worth of sales. So if I apply the changes now, is that going to work for me? There we go. So that was alright, that came back quite quick. Let's change this up. Let's go to North America for so yeah, at the minute by default, every time you change the slicer you get this apply changes option. Cool. So how do I, this is displaying for me the body of my report. How do I navigate it? Like where's the, I can see page 1 of 32. How do I get to page 2? And what have we got here? That's interesting because if I select my paginated report, there aren't any properties I can adjust. In fact, how can I go in and edit this? Oh, okay, so it's selected now. That seems strange, it wouldn't let me select it. Just ordinarily with a click, I had to use the selection pane and select it from here. So, what do we see? General's just sizing, okay, fair enough. Toolbar on or off. What's this going to do for us? Okay, so here's a page navigation. Stick the toolbar on and then you can navigate through your pages. Nice. Parameters on or off. Okay, cool. It's a bit naff that it doesn't quite like fit to my page. I can choose to have my parameters visible or hidden. If I'm going to control them via slices that are interactive, I guess I don't really need this, so I like the fact you can switch that on or off. I'm going to keep it off. Auto apply filters, cool. So I've read about this one. I know that basically what I can do, rather than having to refresh it every time, can just get it to automatically update. So let's go Europe, and it's just responsive, a little bit more like how a Power BI report would be. I guess if it is a paginated report that's got a lot of parameters to set, then that's not going to be a good idea, because it's just going to basically want to submit a query and run every time you change it. So I guess for a relatively simple report, that, you know, like this one is, that might be okay. But if you've got more parameters, perhaps not so good. Let's see how this gets by in a bigger date range. Cool, and then the magic export button. This is going to be the thing that so many people go wild for, because now, rather than having that 150 row limit in Excel, you're going to be able to split this straight out to the sizing you desire. Stick it on my desktop, because why not? Cool, so it doesn't actually like I'm sure in some versions of SSRS it as soon as you exported it, it prompted you to then open the file as well. So it doesn't seem to do that. But here we go. Look at this. All this data. Brilliant. So now people can export all of that information and then probably just build their own reports in Excel. Woohoo. But yeah, no, I think that's going to be pretty amazing for a lot of people. Anything else to explore? Title on or off? What's title going to give us? I guess that's one thing to bear in mind. It seems like even playing about on that, every time I make a change to the formatting, it wants to rerun the report. So if I'm going to switch that off for the time being. Okay, and the title doesn't bring through the actual report title. It's just like any other title property in Power BI in terms of it switches the title on and allows you to do it. There we go. So a little dinky little title up here, which I guess for me, it's pretty good practice to stick titles in your paginated reports anyway, so I can imagine that's going to be quite redundant. Background on or off. Okay, we can make it see-through or not. Again, I can imagine most people are going to keep that switched on. Lock aspect. This is all kind of just standard Power BI visual stuff. Drop shadow on, visual header on. So I can, there we go. You can see what's being, filter context that's been applied to it as well. And I can switch my visual header on and off too. Nice. So I think one thing I'd almost like to be able to see here, and I just want to make sure that I'm not missing a trick. Like, I think it would be quite good to be able to see the print layout of the report rather than the web layout of the report, because that's more what you're going to print out. And it seems a little clunky, I guess, that the if I put my parameters back on, yeah, it seems a little bit clunky that it doesn't wrap those parameters a little bit better, like this white space here, and then I've got to scroll. Though having said that, the scroll bar is just affecting the parameters pane, not affecting this bit below. And I guess as well, like I say, if you're going to control those parameters using the slicer in Power BI anyhow, that's yeah, not really going to matter. Okie doke. So I feel like I know my way around this a little bit better now. Yeah, a little bit of a gotcha. How do I go back to this? I've got it, and again, I find it strange that I can't select it here. I have to use the selection pane. I'm not quite sure how I kind of navigate back if I wanted to change something. Like get back to that dialog screen where I mapped my parameters. Would I just have to do that from scratch if I needed to change it? I'm not sure. I don't need to change it right now, so that's kind of good. Right, what am I going to do? This is why I script on my videos, by the way, because otherwise I just bumble on and make absolutely no sense. So apologies. Where to next? So one of the things that I thought would be quite a good little use case would be if you had a drill through field. So my calendar dates are now being set by a DAX filter. So I think that if I were to do, right, okay, let's give this a bash. If I were to do a really noddy bar chart by calendar month, what we're going to do, sales revenue, why not? And I'm going to grab my content visual. I don't think I'll need to sync it. Okay, I'm terrible for this. I can't remember exactly what I need to do. So, if I were to put the content name in my drill through, I'm going to put my calendar date. I think I put my calendar date in. No, I wouldn't. I would put my calendar year month, I think. So if I got rid of those two slices now, and this is weird, the fact I have to use the selections pane, I'm finding annoying. So yeah, let's make that a bit bigger and get rid of my parameters from the toolbar. I guess actually, because I know my report's pretty fixed width, it'd be nice to be able to zoom it like a fit to width type element, you know, so I could zoom in from there and that fills the page rather than having all this white space. Let's make that a little bit more. No, I just want to move you. Really? I can't move it. Move, move. Okay, hang on. I want to center it anyway, so. Where's my formatting pane? I want to distribute it. Does it not let me distribute it because it's only got one thing? Right, I'm just going to leave it where it is. And I'm going to go to page 4. I'm going to make page 3 hidden. And I think that if I right click to drill through to page 3, I should just end up with June's data for, was it Europe I had selected? I think it was Europe I had selected. There we go. So that's pretty sweet, to be honest. I think being able to sort of have a summary page here and then being able to drill through based on your selection to the paginated report, that's nice. I like that a lot. I can see that being a really nice use case where you get that high level dashboard that people can navigate and see the summary, but based on their selections they could use the drill throughs, and the drill throughs interact with the paginated report visuals as well. So yeah, that's pretty cool. So yeah, a little bit of a rough and ready video, this one. As I say, completely unprepared, no idea what I was doing. Maybe a few things not quite so intuitive there in terms of how you actually you have to add the parameters you want to map into the fields pane first if it was a visual before you could do the mapping. You can't set it to as default if once you've linked it to a slicer, so that's worth bearing in mind too. The navigation's weird. I don't know if this is a bug or whether or not it's supposed to be like that, but the fact that you seemingly can't select it and move it around, resizing was okay, moving it around didn't seem happy, and even just being able to select it was a strange one without a doubt. But that drill through is great. I love the idea you can drill through from a dashboard page to a paginated report. Obviously the export is going to be fantastic. I can see an awful lot of people that are going to really take advantage of that. Try to think of some other really good use cases as well. So I was thinking about this earlier, and I think one of the guys that follows me on Twitter, Bernard, he was saying that what's the use case? Why would you put a paginated report in a Power BI report? Why? Because they're two different things. So I don't know if people have done it in the past. Personally, I have built dashboards that then had a DAX generated URL so that people could drill through from their Power BI report to a paginated report under the hood. I think this simplifies that, so it's going to be easier to sort of build that navigation, and it won't actually have to take you outside of the report either. So one of the things I looked at quite recently is I published an app that had a report in it, and it had the paginated report in it too. But when you navigated to the paginated report, it effectively took you out of the app. It didn't sort of display that within the app, whereas presumably because this is embedded in the report, it would be in the app. So I think that's going to improve the navigation. The other thing from reading Chris Finland's blog, and I will make sure that I put a link to that in the description too, is that I personally thought that one of the constraints that was likely to be placed on you was that your paginated report had to use the same data set as your Power BI report. Similarly, that's not the case. They can be unrelated. So you could have your beautiful dashboard that is pointing at a Power BI data set, and then you could have your paginated report pointing at, say, a direct query at a database. So you could, it's almost a way to build kind of a composite model because you can mash up two data sets. Now, the kind of really fine, detailed, fine-grained information that paginated reports are better for, you might not want to stick into something like a Power BI data set. So the example I thought of was maybe doing something like Net Promoter Score. One of my previous roles, we did quite a lot of Net Promoter Score reporting, and being able to show the kind of high-level scores was always great, but people wanted to drill down into the detail and see sort of customer comments and customer feedback. And a free text field like that in a tabular model, it's not going to compress well, and it's just textual information, especially free text information in a tabular model. It's a bad mixture, but this would be a great way where you could sort of say, right, okay, well, here's my top level scores, and I'll keep that in my data model, and that'll be nice and compressed in the Vertipack engine, and we'll get some great performance. But the point at which you want to drill down into that nitty gritty detail, use the paginated report instead, and use a different data set. So you can mix and match the sources of your data this way, without having to use the sort of composite model or the direct query over Power BI data sets and Azure analysis services. I think I got that right. So yeah, another great use case potentially. This sort of like faux composite model type opportunity. So let me know what you think. It's obviously brand new. I don't know who else will be getting their hands dirty with it, and how soon people will be getting content out to their users with it as well. It is still in preview, so whether or not there'll be many changes to it as we go forward, I'm not sure. But yeah, let me know what you think. I hope that's been useful. As always, if you have got any comments or feedback, please don't hesitate to use the comment section below. If you have enjoyed the video, please do give it a big thumbs up. And if you'd like to follow along for more Power BI content, please do subscribe to the channel. Thanks once again for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.